Guys, we've got to talk about Arsenal, who have just beaten West Ham 2-0. And I'm not going to lie to you, I thought that West Ham could do something today. Now, West Ham have been pretty bad this season, but they've got Nuno in. And Nuno, low blocks, new manager bounce, how West Ham looked against Everton, how much more defensively compact West Ham have looked already. It's a physical game, it's a mid-block game. The type of games Arsenal drop points in is these kind of games against the Nuno, where it's physical, it's a mid-block. And we know that Arsenal, obviously, they've battered West Ham in the past, but Arteta has also struggled against Arsenal in the past, and not Arsenal past, West Ham in the past. And I was like, you know what? Maybe Nuno's going to do something today. But Arsenal won. And you know what's really weird about Arsenal? Is you look at the Newcastle game from 1-0 down to winning 2-1 in the last minute of the game. That's a game that Arsenal wouldn't have won last season. The Newcastle game is a game Arsenal wouldn't have won last season. The game today, I think, is a game that Arsenal could have drew last season, just because it's Nuno and because it's a low block. And Arsenal won them today. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but Arsenal are top of the league right now. Look, I'm filming this at half-time. Obviously, it's half-time right now, Liverpool-Chelsea. So things could change. Liverpool could come back and win it. But Liverpool haven't looked good the last two games. This could be 3 losses in a row. Arsenal, all of a sudden, winning a load of games in a row, getting the points. And you look at Arsenal's last 3 games, it's been against those physical mid-blocks and low blocks, and that's where Arsenal struggled. Arsenal have always found it most difficult against those physical sides with the low blocks, with the mid-blocks. This is when Arsenal fail to win. They get a draw or they're relying on set pieces, but Arsenal have won those games. And what stopped Arsenal from being able to win the league last season was in those games, Liverpool would win them, Arsenal would draw them. Plus, Arsenal had the injuries. And in the summer, Berta went all out to give Arsenal the most elite squad depth ever. But also, I think with people like Eze that like to take risks that are a bit more direct, I think with Gyökeres with his movement, who wasn't great today, Madueke I know didn't play today, but with the kind of signings that Arsenal are making as well, it makes them less predictable. I think Eze is going to be a big signing. And Arsenal top of the league right now, and if things stay the same the way they are going, Arsenal could be favourites because their depth is a lot better than Liverpool's. Liverpool are a Van Dijk injury away from, because Liverpool are not stable at the back. And I think Liverpool have this amazing side, and Liverpool have been my favourites to win the league. They've got Isak, they've got this amazing attack. And right now it's not quite clicking, but I think it will click for Liverpool. And I still think they'll probably win the league. But I'm looking at like Liverpool's depth compared to Arsenal's depth, and I'm like, Arsenal have 2 11s with everyone fit. Like Havertz is injured, they've got Gyökeres. Odegaard's injured, they got Eze, and they could bring Zubimendi on today. When Odegaard came off, they could bring Zubimendi on. I always thought they got better when Zubimendi came on. I thought Zubimendi added so much control today. I thought it was crazy. So in today's video, I want to talk about what we learned from Arsenal 2-0 West Ham. So I want to talk about Jurrien Timber. I want to talk about Zubimendi. I want to talk about Bukayo Saka because he's got 100 goal contributions in 200 games, which is absolutely crazy. So I want to talk about those players. We will have a little bit of conversation about Eze. We will have a little bit of a conversation about a few other players as well. But like Timber, I want to have a big conversation about Zubimendi, Saka, probably Declan Rice. They were like the standouts for me. But before I even talk about and discuss those players, I want to quickly talk about the point that I was making at the beginning of the video. This is my notes. This wasn't a flashy win. It wasn't exciting, but that's why it matters. Arsenal didn't play this amazing football. Like, wow. Like, Gyökeres could have scored 1. Eze could have scored 1. You created chances. But last season, you were dropping points in these kind of games, and now you're finding ways to win. I think as well, winning these games and winning it late versus Newcastle has maybe helped that Arsenal mentality. Last season, every time Liverpool dropped points, Arsenal would then drop points. They would fail to capitalise on that. And I feel like that's given Arsenal a mental boost. And look, it's not just playing pretty football. Like, I don't think the football Arsenal play is that amazing on the eye. I think it's good. I think it's well drilled. I think it's well coached. And you give Arteta a lot of credit to that. You think Arsenal are like out of possession. Arsenal are probably the best structured team in world football. They're like set up incredibly well. But it wasn't pretty football, but they're getting results. And it's being ruthless and it's being efficient. And at the end of the day, I think if someone said to any Arsenal fan, do you want to play the prettiest football in the league and come second again? Or do you want to sometimes grind out these kind of games? And I don't even think Arsenal played bad football. I think it was decent. I think you created chances. I think, I wouldn't expect more against a Nuno, Esperanto Santos side. Like, he plays the kind of game which is going to make it difficult for Arsenal. And I thought Arsenal played all right, and I think they created, and I think the football Arsenal played was all right. And I saw a lot of negativity online about Arsenal and the football they play, but that's what wins you leagues. And that's what worries me about Arsenal. Like, I can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm now really worried that Arsenal are going to win the league, and I'd rather Arsenal win the league than Liverpool. Don't get me wrong, but I know too many Arsenal fans that are going to make my life hell if they win the league. So I really don't want Arsenal to win the league, but I just feel like, you know what, Berta's master plan has worked. Got the depth. They're winning the kind of games they weren't winning last season. I feel like something's changed with Arsenal, and I want to talk about someone that I think is the best right back in the Premier League. And I was asked who I think Arsenal's most underrated player is. That player is Jurrien Timber. 8 duels and 6 tackles in a match. Like, guys, that's insane. 8 duels and 6 tackles in a single match. That's not normal. And it's not just this game. Jurrien Timber's been excellent this season. Ben White's probably had the better attacking output, but I thought his attacking output was good today. I thought he was providing more in attack. As a defensive right back, I don't think there's a better defender than Jurrien Timber. In terms of you're a winger, we saw it against Real Madrid. You don't want to come across Jurrien Timber. He can lock down any winger. Arsenal obviously very defensively stable side, but you've got to give Arsenal credit for it. The lack of open play goals that's been conceded by Arsenal this season is crazy. It's another clean sheet for Arsenal. We can say all we want about like Arteta and negative to play and set piece FC and defensive FC, because when I can slander Arsenal, I will. I love to slander Arsenal, but when you actually deep it and when you actually think about it, like Jurrien Timber, Calafiori, Gabriel, and even Jurrien Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, and even Calafiori this season, the consistency of them to be so solid as a back four throughout every game this season, to get that many clean sheets, the consistency of Gabriel, Saliba, and Timber in particular, the consistency for them to do this week in, week out and be this strong, and for Timber to go and win 8 duels and make 6 tackles today. Like, that's absolutely nuts, people. Like, Jurrien Timber, for me, was man of the match. But even, like, going forward, I thought that he improved. I thought, sometimes his final action can improve, his choice-making can improve. Maybe it's not as good as Ben White when it comes to overlaps and crosses. But I thought that he improved going forward today. I think that his forward game had improved. I think he was a little bit of a threat today. I think he could have scored. I think that, Jurrien Timber showed quite a bit today. And I thought, he was good. I think Calafiori looked good today as well. I think he's not been as good as Timber, Calafiori, but I think Calafiori's been good. But Timber's been very good this season. He's so solid at the back. I think he's better than he gets credit for going forward. Like, he's a really, really good player, Jurrien Timber. And I think he's probably Arsenal's most underrated player. And I think Timber and Calafiori are generally having a really good season. Like, Timber is playing for, like, the PFA Player of the Season award. Like, right now, if you're thinking who's been Arsenal's best player this season, you might look at Jurrien Timber and say, this guy's been crazy. Because don't get me wrong, Arsenal have some good players. Saka, I think, is your best player on paper, but he's been injured. Declan Rice is a phenomenal player. I think Eze is going to show so much this season. But the consistency from Jurrien Timber is actually mad. When you look at the consistency of Arsenal's defence in general, it's crazy. So I'm going to give you my general thoughts on the game and other players. Bukayo Saka, and this was a stat that I got, registered, according to SofaScore, 1.11 expected assists today. So the highest amount of expected assists a player had accumulated in a single game this season was 0.75. Bukayo Saka smashed that today with an expected assist of 1.11. And he didn't even get an assist today, which is crazy. The amount of creating Saka was doing was mad. I thought the right-hand side was really good. Saka now has 100 goal contributions in 200 Premier League games, which is crazy, because I was thinking of Saka. And Saka, is used really different to Salah. When you watch Liverpool, Salah doesn't have to do an insane amount of pressing. Salah doesn't have to do an insane amount of tracking back. Salah can stay quite high and quite central and has a free role. And Salah's often allowed to go on the inside and shoot and do that. Saka doesn't get that freedom that someone like Salah gets. Saka has to come back. Saka has to press. Saka has to hold the line. And Saka is getting 100 goal contributions at age 24 in 200 Premier League games, when the first probably 30 of those games, maybe 50, were played at left back. Saka has played at left back. He's played a role at right wing, where the numbers he's getting for a player that is consistently having to get back, for a player that has the work rate that Saka does, that does the defensive job that Saka does, that does the amount of pressing that Saka does, to get the level of goals and assists he does is insane. Because if Mikel Arteta went, you know what, we've got Jurrien Timber, he's such a good defensive right back, Saka, save your energy, I want you to stay a bit higher, I want you to maybe drift more central, I think Saka's numbers would go up and up and up. And the main thing about Saka is he came on the other day against Olympiacos, he goes left wing and he still looks mint. Like, there's some right wingers, you put them on the left wing, they're crap. Saka's a good player when you can put him left back, left wing, right back, right wing. I'm pretty sure he could do a job on the 10 if he wanted him to, because he's just such a good player. And he gets the ball, and when he gets the ball, he drives at people, he creates. Not only does Saka press, not only does Saka follow his instructions, not only does he work hard, not only does he get back, not only can he hold the width, but he can score. Phil Foden can't do it for England, Saka can. He's that one-of-a-kind player that I think can do it for everyone, Bukayo Saka. And look, he's a world-class player. It's a nuts attribute to have. You have to give Saka credit. He can pass, he can dribble, he can take on players, he can create, he can score. I feel like Saka has everything to his game. The last two things I want to talk about is the midfield. I thought Zubimendi was class today. I almost think you could argue Zubimendi was man of the match today. I think he brought a lot of technical security. I think he slowed the game down and calmed Arsenal down. I think Arsenal were rushing things a bit, and Zubimendi was like, look, you don't need to rush things. We need to keep the ball. We can take our time, and we can gradually break them down. And I think he brought a lot of intelligence, a lot of control. I think Zubimendi reads the game well. And I think we saw the intelligence of Zubimendi to give Arsenal that control and to conduct the game and to slow them down and just say, look, we can do it this way, we can do it that way. We've got to control the game, not make it chaotic, and then we can break them down. And I think Zubimendi came on. He knew how to control the tempo. He knew when to be aggressive and when to slow it down. But I think the way that Zubimendi came on and controlled the tempo today was good. I think he was breaking the lines well. I think he was progressing the ball well. I thought Zubimendi was almost game changer when he came on. I think it's the intelligence. I think it's the reading of the game, the passing into the final third. I think Zubimendi's ability to recycle the ball, dictate the tempo, slow the game down. He was playing those Jorginho type balls, was fantastic. I think Declan Rice adding another goal to his locker. Declan Rice can score free kicks. He can assist free kicks. He can assist. He can score. He can cover crazy amounts of ground. He can defend. Like, the amount of work that Declan Rice does is also absolutely insane when you think about it. But yes, guys, that is my review on Arsenal. I do apologize that it's no PowerPoint notes. I normally do have PowerPoint notes, but I'm literally on the go today. I'm in London. I've got loads to do. So I just didn't have time to do everything because obviously I want to get this done before the Liverpool second half. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you for watching. Bye.